tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the next big thing, the latest up-and-coming sports journalist, your host, Nathan Snell.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Haney, for that wonderful introduction. Good to you, ladies and gentlemen. Here's your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 18, season 18 of the podcast. In this episode, we're talking about the Maryland women's basketball team. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. You should have already seen episodes 17 and 16 up already. They will go up. They will still be up tomorrow. As I already said, it's episode 17. I apologize for my mood because I still really have not recovered from this weekend. And my women's basketball team, they're getting ready to play University of Iowa at home. I'll be at the game tomorrow. Caitlin Clark is at College Park. Let's get into it. So let's rewind. Last time you saw me, ladies and gentlemen, we were coming off the loss to Michigan. And some things happened in that game that really, for the most part, I felt as though was a bit much. We're all talking about the whole Bree McDaniel thing and, the loss and all the things like that. Penn State came and it just looked very different. We got thrashed on the road, 112-76. I felt confident coming into this game. We got to see former Maryland Terp and Ashley Owusu. I was expecting big things. I was expecting us to come out, look different from compared to the Michigan game. When I mean different, I'm talking we're coming out with being aggressive, a whole heap of things. I thought I would have seen that. And just was different. We struggled like the first 3 minutes to score a basket. Penn State went on that 7-0 run. Their offense well balanced. We just couldn't generate any offense. I can't defend. You can't get on 2 shots out of your first 7 field goals. Can't defend that. Just in the first 5 minutes, they had 8 rebounds compared to our 3. The first quarter was key for me, and we'll play the tape with Coach Freeze. Can't come out like that in the first quarter. And their guards, their defense just frustrated the player like Cheyenne Sellers, especially by double teaming her on the perimeter and forcing a turnover. So just for example, I thought the second quarter we came out a little bit different. I liked that we settled in, especially when Shy went out. Jakia kind of took over the scoring. It was a great second quarter. We were 10 of 18 from the field. We were 3 of 7 from 3. But Penn State, they just kind of regrouped and got themselves together. We had no answers for Ashley. On both the interior and perimeter defense, had 12 second quarter points. Disappointing. I just felt as though, especially defensively, and again also to depth. Again, when Shy went out, I think that also kind of hurt a little bit. We don't have the size, especially on the inside. I thought that it made matchups a little tougher. They capitalized on their shooting. They were 5 of 6 from 3. This was outside of the Carol. This was another game we scored 100 points. Last time we saw that was against South Carolina, and that was well over a couple months ago. We saw Shy went down with it. She held her knee. She didn't come back. I thought, also too, the free throws. It's interesting where you look when you look back at the stat sheet, especially in the first half, we both teams came out. I mean, they had practically the similar field goal percentage, which was startling to me. They only made 2 more shots, and then they made, I believe, 1 more three. Quickly at that stat sheet. The biggest thing that stood out was they got to the free throw line. They had 10 free throws in the first half. I can't defend that. I mean, you were 9 of 10. Only had 6 and only made 1.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. Oh, Lord.
And I think also outside of that too, we did not do a good job defending slowing down the 3-point shooting. I thought that was also something too that was very disappointing. We are one of the best. To me, I think we're one of the best teams in the Big Ten at defending the 3. We're allowing our opponents to shoot under 30%. But against Penn State, they shot on 60%. They made 16 threes. That's the most in a Big Ten conference game that's happened. We can. You're going to hear Jakia Brown say something that was like, yeah, I agree. But we just had no answers for them, and that happened, and 32 points on the road. Let me just go ahead and just play the post game. You're going to hear Coach Freeze, Jakia Brown.
If you want to go ahead and call.
Olivia, go ahead.
Hey, Jakia. Just curious, what did you see from Penn State? Like, obviously they shot the floor really, really well today. How do you work on your defense and defend a team when they're shooting the ball this well and like every person on the team is really like in their zone today?
I think just like staying together as a team and just doing what we can control. We can't control if they're making a lot of shots, but we can still play our defense, still put our hand up, box out, and do those little things. But, it was a tough one. Michael?
Hey, Jakia. Shy goes down at the end of the first half. Kind of how hard was it to kind of do what you wanted to do on offense when she goes down and doesn't return?
Yeah, it's definitely, difficult. Shy's a great player. She's our leader, our point guard. So, I mean, when we lose her, it's tough. But it's important for us to keep playing for her and hopefully she'll be back.
Thanks, Jakia.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we have Coach Brendan Freeze. We'll let Coach start off with a few thoughts and then we'll take questions.
Yeah, I thought our first quarter was disappointing, especially with a lot of the missed free throws we had and layups. I thought we dug ourselves in a really big hole. I thought, our second quarter, we started to settle in a little bit more. I thought Shakia did everything she could for us, especially when Shy went out. That's what, you want and expect out of your grad senior with the experience that she has. So Penn State, clearly, whether we went man or zone, had playing at home and for us on the road is always really difficult and shot lights out, 61, 62% from the field, 3-point line, as well as the free throws. So we had no answer whether whichever defense we were in, and credit to them. I thought, it was probably one of the best games I've seen them play.
We'll take a few questions on Zoom.
Michael and then Olivia.
Hi, Coach. Ashley today had 12 points in the second quarter, finished with 16. Kind of what was it like playing against her today, and thoughts on her performance?
Clearly she had a tremendous game. We obviously know how talented of a player Ashley is. She can score, she can distribute. She's a really tough matchup for everyone. And I thought, she's an exceptional player and, played like I expected her to play.
Hey coach, just curious, after that first quarter, it felt like you guys were finding your rhythm more in the second and third quarter, but it just seemed like every time you had like a little bit of a run, Penn State would like come back and just even harder. How did that kind of take away the momentum when they would just like answer every run that you went on?
Well, their depth wore us out. You saw the waves that they go 10 to 12 deep. And, once we had Shy go out, then Allie went out for a chunk of time with her ankles. So we were severely limited in with the amount of minutes that people were having to play. So you saw that fatigue take place. I mean, with their depth and the pressing that they were able to do and the amount of turnovers they were able to forced us into really impacted us, through their depth and our lack thereof.
Last question, we'll go to Judith.
I guess, what do you kind of have to do for like the next kind of her turning back home to kind of, obviously these are ranked opponents, so it's maybe even a tougher challenge than Penn State to kind of avoid a blowout and just kind of stay in the game, especially with your lack of depth if Cheyenne is missing.
Yeah, well, we want to have to see after she gets evaluated what the update's going to be for her. And then you can only control what you can control. If we're down a point guard, that's going to, obviously have more responsibility by a committee. And this week, like you said, doesn't get any easier. We're going to have to move on to the next and put a great plan together as we go, back home.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
And I agree. I'm just looking at the box score from loss to Penn State. When Allie went down, I forgot to mention that. Until Coach Freeze pointed out in the pro presser, her ankle injury. She was out for a minute. You saw Faith and Emily get extended minutes. Outside of that, I mean, just got to chalk this one up, plain and simple. I mean, I'll say for the most part, 40 points in the paint. We had 34 compared to their 40. I thought our second and third quarters were good for a little bit. We just got to be more consistent, sustaining runs. The depth, once, Shy went out and then Allie went out, that hurt. I mean, when you look to the bench, Brendan's only going to go in there with 7-8 man rotation. And, we even saw at one point, we're getting, that's you're asking, that's more. So that kind of hurt. And then, it doesn't help when, they had 2 more turnovers than they did, than Penn State did. So this was a very lopsided loss. And also too, I think matchups also played a role in that too. I didn't like that at all. Indiana was next on the list. We didn't look good on that one either. We got thrashed. It's a home game. Well, I'm not going to use the word thrashed. They were home, in the midst of a 2-game losing streak for us. Sunday, I feel like we play a little bit better at home. I know they're having, up until this game, coming into this game, they're 17-2 or 8-1 Big Ten at the time. Art Hope, Mackenzie Holmes, and they are a great shooting team. No doubt about that. They're not the best rebounding team coming into this game. I believe coming into this game, they were ranked 12th in the conference in total rebounds, especially they're dead last in offensive rebounds. And that was something that was really key for me. Shy Sellers did not play in this game because of her knee injury. I was already confident with the ball handlers. I'm especially Bree McDaniel. We already know she can play point. So Brenda did say, Coach Freeze did say it would be a player by committee. The rebounding battle, looking for that. How we were going to beat them on the boards, offensively and defensively, and taking Mackenzie Holmes out the game. And we looked good. I mean, we were down 22 points at half. We were close. I'm not disappointed. I'm not like the Penn State game. There were some things positive you could take away from this. There was we'll get into it. But I'm going to let Coach Freeze before I get into that. I'm going to let her speak.
Well, this is extra special.
Oh, wrong one. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. Go back. I'm pulling up the right now press conference with Coach Freeze. I actually had the Indiana one. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go.
You know, I was proud of our third quarter, our second half. I liked the response out of the locker room. You know, I thought it said a lot. You know, that second half we outscored them 43-35. Took us too long, obviously, in the first half. I think obviously the patience of, you know, losing Shy and, you know, turning around after Penn State and having one practice to, you know, insert Bree at the point and our rotations. That all has an impact when you lose a player like Shy. But liked our response in the second half. But, you know, when you have games like this where you're you know, playing 4 games in 2 days, in 10 days, 2 against top 10 teams, you know, it's kind of a relentless schedule right now. So we want to be better. We want to come out and play for 40 minutes. You're going to have that on Saturday to be competitive in that game. But for us, we got there in the second half, and now we've got to be able to get there for the entire 40.
Hey, y'all. Brene, going to start with you. Just a quick question from your perspective. What was the biggest difference from that first half to the second half? And what is that adjustment like trying to, you know, learn on the fly without Shy for the first time this season?
Yeah, I think that first half was just on us. I think it was more about our energy and our effort, which is something that we try to pride ourselves with. And I think we're still trying to figure out, you know, what specifically it is with our starts, but it's something that we definitely want to lock in more because we know we need to start better.
Question for Bree. You know, obviously this is a huge jump in responsibilities for you as a sophomore. I mean, you've been taking on more throughout the season, but now to be kind of the leader on the court, what was your preparation like going into this game?
Just staying poised and letting the game come to me and just putting my team in the right positions to get them shots and put myself in the right positions to get myself some shots. I feel like I could have did a little bit better, but first game is being the point, and just gotta come back to practice and work on it and be better for the next game.
Brenda, you know, you mentioned this tough stretch against ranked teams. Just given obviously the injury to Cheyenne, but also just, you know, the quality of the opponents. Does it require you to kind of adapt your team to a different mentality as underdogs than maybe you have in years past? Does it change anything about the approach?
I don't think it changes our approach. We know what we're capable of and what's in the locker room. We just we have a small margin for error. So you know, when Bree picks up a quick, you know, they're learning as Bree picks up early fouls and Allie picked up early fouls. You know, that's super impactful now with just losing our depth. You know, losing Riley, losing shy now, losing Emma early in the season, so the depth has been very impacted. So you've got to be better. Yeah, again, I like the fact. I mean, it's to have all 5 players in double figures, and we did some positive things. I said after the Penn State game we would learn a lot about ourselves, and even after halftime, I saw the fight that we have and the resiliency. So that's super positive. This team hasn't quit fighting. It's in a schedule right now that um, Big Ten is relentless, and 2 top 10 teams back to back and coming off the road. So, and 4 games in 10 days. So we're in it, and we're just going to keep putting our head down and fighting.
Renee, I know you mentioned, and this is for any of you guys, I know you mentioned the first half, poor effort, and that's kind of been something that's transpired on defense all year. But that half court press seemed to kind of force you guys to play with more intensity. What did you see Indiana react to when you switched to that? And what do you think was the biggest change for the better defensive performance in the third and fourth?
I think for us, we change up our defenses a lot. So communication is really big for us, and that's still something we're working towards being elite at. Um, but I think mainly for that second half, our energy and our effort were there. Our communication was there. I think we were more locked in as a unit, like as a team.
I guess this is for any of you, but what did you guys kind of discuss at halftime that helped you kind of improve in that like third quarter?
In the locker room, we just knew that we had to pick our energy up. Like we were down, I think 20, and we didn't want to quit, and we knew that we needed to get stops and scores, and I think we came out and tried to do that.
Hey guys, this is for any of you. Faith had over 30 minutes tonight played. She hasn't seen the court quite as much this season in comparison to last season, but when she was on the court tonight, it seemed like she was handling the ball quite a lot. Just what can you say about her leadership and poise and ability to step up in those kinds of situations when she's needed?
I could say Faith come in day in and day out and work. She is one of the hardest working people on this team, and she's just relentless. Like she's ready to work. She's ready to put her body on the line for this team, and she's just a great teammate. And she was ready to play today. She was ready when her number was called.
Brenda, looking at Indiana, not the biggest name on the stat sheet tonight, but Chloe Moore McNeil for them is in a much bigger role this year without Grace Berger there. I'm just wondering how you've seen her grow her game through her career at Indiana.
Yeah, she's the ultimate floor general. She knows how to facilitate. She knows how to, so athletic. I mean, obviously defensively, she's really quick and handsy and wreaks havoc. And on the offensive end, she just knows how to, get downhill, how to dump off to Holmes, knows when to have to make a big play for them, and is the ultimate floor general.
Hey, Brenda, we know how much responsibility Shy has on this team. How did you try to adjust so quickly with such a short turnaround? How did you guys kind of approach that in practice and try to put together a game plan so quickly when, she's usually such a big part of it?
Yeah. It's tough, and nobody's going to feel sorry for ourselves. With one, because we're so thin, we're not able to practice, multiple days. So we had one prep for Indiana. We threw Bree and Faith, at the point. We even had Emily work through some reps just in anticipation of foul trouble. So, they're quick turnarounds. So not a lot of practice time. And when you look at the stretch now that they won't practice tomorrow, they'll get a 1-day prep for Iowa. We turn around, we won't practice on Sunday. We'll get a 1-day prep for Rutgers. It's a tough grind. But every team has different stretches. Ours is just falling right now in a tough stretch when you lose your depth and you lose Shy. So we've got to adapt and adjust, and our opponents don't care, and we've got to figure it out.
Hey Coach, I know you talked yesterday about Indiana's, inside-outside game was what made them so dangerous. Yeah. And that first half, it felt like, especially the first quarter, you guys were giving up a lot of open threes. Was that the game plan, was just to kind of force them to make open shots and not let Holmes beat you?
We were playing a triangle in two, so we were actually between Garzone and Scalia trying to defend them. Bargesser averages 3 points a game. We were trying to pick our poison with that, and then be able to double with Holmes, but it was too much. It was too much for us, and again, that's something we've done in the past, but we haven't repped it, a ton all year. So we had one practice to get it in, and it was an epic fail. So you got to scrap it, and we were able to do that midway, into that second quarter. You got to scheme with what you got.
Brenda, kind of building off that question, I know you were just saying you're only going to have 1 day prep, but Terry was saying that she didn't expect the triangle, and obviously you guys were playing some zone, you were playing some press. Is it feeling like, hey, whatever I got in my book, I can throw it out. Let's see what tools we got.
We've had some of those practice reps in the past. It's really just where your team is and kind of trying to get that pulse of what they're able to do. It's hard. We've talked about it as a staff. Like, you kind of sometimes feel like you're coaching with one hand behind your back. Like when here, when we dug a hole, we want to press. We don't have the depth to be able to press like we've had previous teams to be able to do. So you just gotta figure out other ways.
Hey, coach, is there any frustration with the timing of Faith's technical in the fourth? It seemed to kind of cut the momentum. Indiana went on a 10-0 run afterwards.
I think the frustration was the 44 fouls that were called in the game. I think maybe that led to Faith's frustration, but 44 fouls, like, what are we doing? So, I think that was the tough part of the game. You couldn't really get into any kind of rhythm or flow within the game. I mean, I don't know how we didn't have our entire bench foul out. But so it was a very fragmented game.
Hey, coach. Obviously, it's been talked about their inside-outside game, but Holmes inside had a pretty great night. So just want to ask you, in terms of their size inside Indiana as a team, like, did you find it hard to kind of contain them at points? Seems like sometimes she would catch the ball down there on the post and get triple teamed immediately. So if she was able to kick out that, she might.
Yeah, I mean, when you have two shooters and then you have Holmes inside, that's really difficult. And she's an All-American. I thought even when we closed that to whatever it was, 7, 8 points, like then she just made All-American plays. Like that's what your All-American does. 23 and 10. She drew 6 fouls. She's elite. That's a hard matchup. And then you add great shooters and around her.
Hey, coach. When you're in this kind of tough stretch where there's injuries and calls aren't going your way, and you're just not able to win games, and you keep feels like you're playing better and better teams every single time you step on the floor. What do you say to your team to keep them positive?
I think you just have to have perspective. We're in a bit of adversity right now, and it reveals your character. And anyone can quit. Anyone can, that's the easy path. And so this is a hard stretch right now for this group. But like I said, I challenged them at halftime, and I loved the response. And so that tells me all I need to know about our group. You just keep battling. We're going to get plenty more opportunities with the remaining games that we have.
I don't know if there was anything else, but what else maybe besides outside of Faith's technical kind of led to you guys faltering down the stretch and not gaining closer, or like?
I mean, that was impactful, no question. That swing hurt. And then I thought, Mackenzie, did some things. I think there was more whistles that were blown, so they could shoot some more free throws. So we on top of it went down and missed. We had a couple great clear out isolation plays for Bree that point blank layups that we missed. So we control that.
Good. Just curious, like, obviously we've talked about this is a tough stretch for you guys, a lot of tough opponents, minimal practices. Who's kind of like leading the charge for you guys in practice? Is it like Faith and Brene, the veterans who are kind of just like taking charge, or are your young guys stepping up and saying, this is what we need to do, we need to get better?
Definitely led by our captains and our grad seniors. Faith and Brene always have a really strong voice for us in practice. So I think you nailed that. Thanks.
So it was the other night at the Xfinity Arena. It was Barbie night, and thrash was not the great word to use. I'm not going to use that. It just, I'm gonna say when Faith's technical foul was called, the momentum was just taken out of the arena. Because I was pissed. Everything Coach Free said, I 1000% agree. I thought they looked a lot better in the second half. Because especially, I was like, I don't know what this game will look like. And, again, you slow start in the first half, tell it two halves. We looked just different. When you just have one score and double figures at half, and you only had 6 assists.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna even sit here and act like I didn't know this was coming, or act like I know this was coming, because I did it.
You gotta be better on that. And some of that's also to miscues, lack of communication, and I think also to matchups. Their ball movement, Indiana, they had 12 assists in the first half, turned the ball over 5 times. We disappointed in our own 5. I looked at the game, their fast start I was like a slap in the face. Even with the strong second half. I mean, the Hoosiers, and Mackenzie Holmes, man, it's just a special player. I mean, and they weren't afraid to give her the ball. But their perimeter shooting was key. I mean, as the second best 3-point shooting team in the Big Ten, when you made out of your 4 or your 7 threes, you scored 52 points in the first 20 minutes. You're up 22. I mean, we did all we could in the second half, especially that 12-2 run start. I thought that was key in the third quarter. We're 6-6 on field goals. We had cut it down just to 7. And I definitely think, not having Shy out there made the offense, how we scheme certain stuff, like Coach Brenda said in the post presser, sure, it definitely played a factor. We did have 30 points in the first half, but I really thought like I say, the second half was just different. They went to Faith Masonis to run the point. And especially for her coming off the bench this year, she had 11 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. And, it's definitely started again. And this is also something too, especially when you are a team that is dealing with injuries like Maryland has, not having Emma, not having Riley, not having Shy, your foul troubles will come back to bite you in the butt. When Allie goes to the bench with 3 fouls, now that's where Faith came in. She definitely made all the right plays, and they did all the right things. Now the technical foul, I'm gonna disagree with Coach Freeze on this. I don't think it was the 44 fouls. I think it was that particular call, because if you look, her foot, they said she stepped out of bounds. She never did, and I think that was frustration for sure. But again, I'm going to reiterate this again. I'm just going to all I ask for is consistency. You're going to call something on one end, call on the other. Could have been led to frustration of the 44 fouls, yes. However, like each officiating crew is different. If officiating crew thinks that's a personal foul, officiating crew may say something different. I don't know. I just felt like when she got called for the tech, and it's not her fault. I would have felt the same way too. I'm being honest when I said that, but it just when that happened, the momentum just was gone after that. I mean, outside of that, I mean, hey, I think there's a lot you could take positively away from the game. There was a strong second half. Faith, I think, may be our secret weapon, for running ball movement. The offense looked a lot better. We just got to clean up a couple things, rebounding, defense, different things like that. Those are things that we can control. But hey, I'll take it. But also too, and it kind of leads me to this other thing too. Like when you look at this season, yeah, I mean, especially it is kind of challenging. A lot of it is look at our defense, look at the size, and then also matchups. I definitely think that, Coach Freeze said it most definitely. How do you respond after losses like this? This is what reveals your character. So I definitely expect them to be ready for Iowa. But there are some things that are out there. There's some things that they can control, and there's some things that they can't that are simply out of their control. Like again, example. Look at his own defense. Let's use our zone defense for example. Ali Kubek is, I think, is 6'2", but she plays like she's 6'4", my opinion. She is not she's only one person that can do so much to contain, example, Indiana, right? Brene, like, is doing everything on defense, but we have her acting as another forward, but she's better, I call it more of a roam. Like, they had I just think, again, a lot of it has to do with lack of depth. And again, also two matchups. Like, I mean, I can go on a whole ramble and sing, different things that they've got to work on. But I think they're going to continue to get better. I mean, we were right there. We were there. But once, like I said, the tech occurred, that was pretty much it. And hey, like, take the good, the bad, and the ugly, and be ready for Iowa. Let's get into that as soon as we come back from our quick commercial break. Okay, we're back. We're going to play some quick tape. The ladies had a press conference today as they're getting ready for their game against Iowa tomorrow. We're going to start with Faith.
Good. How are you?
Oh, and I also apologize if you can't hear the questions.
Mhm. I mean, yeah, obviously fifth year, I have that experience. Having Shy out, we all kind of had to step up and do at least one thing better throughout the game. So I think for me, just taking on that role of, I might have to be backup point guard today, kind of just embracing it. And I've done it before, just try to do the best I can at it. I try not to overwhelm myself because, if you think too much, you can't play true basketball. So I think just going in with confidence and knowing that, we got to step up. You're fine. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of people in this place, so it might not have been completely sold out, but just feeling, tens of thousands of people in here enough is definitely like having a six man on the court, and it just brings a lot of energy, and you can just feel it when you're playing. So it's really exciting. And I just look back on when we played Towson and we had the field trip day with like 10 thousands of kids in here screaming. On the court, we're kind of just feeding off that energy, so we're really excited to do that. Mhm. Mhm. I mean, yeah, Stokey, she was a track runner in high school, so she's fast. So we gotta be able to run with her down the court and transition and stop her. I mean, she's strong. She's a great post. Once Clark finds them in the post, they'll go. We just gotta stop the layups. I mean, it's kind of the same mentality we have running our post, doing what we want to do on defense, and just helping each other out and playing, Maryland defense and having each other's backs. So it just comes down to that. You know. Yeah, I mean, I think it just starts with us coming prepared mentally and physically and starting in warm-ups, just getting going, and just really coming out with a attack mentality and having confidence and from the start just jumping on them and going from there. Cool. Thank you. Bye guys.
Last year I didn't play that much against Iowa, but just not letting myself get too caught up in the moment. We've been in these positions before. I've been in these positions before. My teammates trust me. My coaches trust me. So just staying leveled and not just being here, just being centered, not thinking about like, oh, we're playing Iowa, just playing Maryland basketball. Mhm. Mhm. Um, just being ready and we're already prepared. We know what to expect and just playing our game. That's really the main thing that I say that we should focus on and being ready. Just being ready when our numbers are called and being ready when we step out on the court to have a 40-minute game. Of course, listening to music, talking, playing, having chapel. Yeah, that's really a pregame ritual. Yeah. And then I have a picture of my grandfather in the locker room, so I take a pic. I'll like do the cross and kiss him before I come out on the court. Um, just the crowd. It's gonna be a packed arena, and it's gonna be a fun environment. We went to places where it was a packed gym, South Carolina, UConn, and then now here, we've been waiting for this, so gotta be coming and ready to play. Um, it's our crowd. We control it, so that's really it. Yeah. Thank you.
I do apologize if the audio is a little off. It's Coach Freeze.
Uh, that's good. Yeah. We're super excited to host a nationally televised big time women's basketball game here at Xfinity, as we've been really fortunate enough to do so many times here. Excited to host another amazing sold out crowd as we've done more than once here. And we know that our fans are going to make a huge impact for us. Our kids really embrace the moments like this. We brought them here because they want to be on the big stage and they take pride in defending our home court. So we're looking forward to the matchup tomorrow. You have to. I think you have to mix up your defenses, your defenders. She's so talented and she plays, most of the games. So you just got, like we understand. I mean, she's averaging 32 points a game, and she's gonna, make a lot of shots, but we got to make them difficult and under duress, and be on point. Yeah, no, I mean, just I think everybody knows when she comes across half court. I mean, that's as good of a shot for her as any. So you got to be able to find her early. She's, extremely dangerous in transition, and she's got her teammates, running for her. I mean, Trans D is a huge area for us because of how Stolke gets out and all their guard play and the way they kick ahead. So being able to slow them down in transition is going to be a huge piece. I thought our effort and energy when I went back and watched film was there. Clearly, the second half we won. I thought we settled in. I think the first half we started too slow. You're not going to beat teams as good as Indiana and Iowa if you don't come ready to play for 40. So I think part of that is we had to kind of get comfortable. I think people underestimate that when you lose, Cheyenne Sellers, who's leading us in every statistical category, to then move your lineup and shift it in a lot of different areas. That's really hard, and to do it with one day, that's why it takes time for teams to be able to form. But I thought the response was great in the second half. That's where I wanted to see what that was going to look like being down by so much, and they did a terrific job of responding. Well, I mean, it's up to the players. I can't play for them. They have to come out, and they're more than capable. They've shown that this season. And to me, when you're down a player, you've got to make it up in other ways, and that's your 50-50 loose balls. That's getting stops on the defensive end. It's controlling those intangibles that you can control. It's sprinting the court tomorrow night, against the rim runs and the kickouts that they're going to have. So just, I think there's things you can control on the defensive end and the rebounding end, and then playing together on offense. We've all as a staff have done a lot of different things, whether it's sitting and watching film with her or creating a highlight video for her. I think from Kia's end, she just finally had to settle in. She's a kid that has to feel comfortable and confident, and it's finally connected for her. And I think you see, that's what we expected that we were going to get all season long. That's who she was in the summer when she got here. So it's great that she finally has gotten there. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I thought the last game, seeing, the student section and how lively they were and how many were here, and just for the women's game itself, to know it's sold out, and just even the amount of ticket requests and that are still coming in, that people want to be here and be a part of this game. I mean, we beat UConn last year here, and I don't know. I think it was close to a sellout, but yeah. I mean, yeah, the energy is electric when you have an environment like us with the best six man in the country, and to have fans like ours, where that's going to be that extra boost that you need in a 40-minute game. There is not. She's still day to day and trying to progress. Thank you, guys.
All right. We played at the University of Iowa. First and foremost, I'd like to give my special thanks again to the Maryland women's basketball team, PR, for allowing me a credential to cover the women's basketball team. I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'm super stoked. We're going to get ready for them as the Iowa Hawkeyes are coming to the Serengeti, and we'll be ready for them tomorrow night. Now, supposedly, because we're going to be on Fox, that also they're going to have something called a Caitlin Clark cam. What it is it's going to be a cam stream through on their Fox's TikTok, and it's going to follow Caitlin as she goes on offense and when she's on defense or the bench. She did surpass Kelsey Mitchell. She's now number 2. Kelsey Plum is the all-time Big Ten. He's the all leading scorer, all Big Ten. Personally, that would piss me off. We're going to have some cam follow Caitlin Clark around the game during the game. That would actually motivate me, because if I was I look for that camera, I'd break it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just speaking hypothetically. But what I'm saying is that actually should motivate us to play, and I'm super stoked for that. Because me personally, if they're gonna have webcam, following live on TikTok, then I'm going off. We all know the offense they got. Handy Sulky, Caitlin Clark. We already know what they like to do. Their offense. I mean, down there, almost 92 points a game. Already know what to expect from them. We look. Coach said Shy's day to day, next man up mentality. Last time we saw them, it was a home game. We beat them here 96-68. The last other 2 meetings they beat us. We're the underdogs. Cheyenne Sells was the primary defender on Caitlin Clark. KCO was going to be on her. We're at home. I know there's going to be some Caitlin Clark fans there, but it's a sold-out game. I expect us to come out. The first quarter is going to be key. Punch them right in the mouth, be aggressive, play defense, make Caitlin Clark earn her shots. As soon as she's, if I'm whether it's Lav, whether that's Bree McDaniel, she is not coming. I'm not letting her touch. When she comes half court, I'm right there on her defensively. Make her be a passer. Let those others beat you, not her. Rebounding. They're not the greatest second team. They're not the greatest team when it comes to allowing second chance points. That's a fact. But it's televised game. We're the underdogs. I'm calling it right now. The Maryland women's basketball team is upsetting the Iowa Hawkeyes 87-77.
Guaranteed.
I feel it. I feel it, baby. It's going to be a great game. I can't wait. I'm stoked for it. I've been waiting for this moment because these last 2 games, I see frustration. I see these girls. I think they're motivated. Now, unfortunately, again, because this has been a tough stretch of the schedule, but they're ready. They're ready for it. We're not going to let Caitlin Clark come into the Xfinity Arena and just go off on us. We're going to be ready for her. But that's going to conclude this episode. I don't have one final thought other than have a great weekend. Stay safe. Do something fun. Check on loved ones. Do something for yourself. Just enjoy the weekend. Until then, it's going to be a great game tomorrow. Super stoked. I'm out. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the next big thing, the next up-and-coming sports journalist, Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you for everything